Well, if you saw the Toronto's Red Star on the weekend, you might be shocked. Yes, the Red Star, the official mouthpiece of the Liberal Party, be it in the Federal Liberal Party, the Ontario Liberal Party. Well, their editorial cartoon on Saturday was taking a shot at Ontario's Liberal Premier, Kathleen Wynne. Check it out, showing where her approval rating truly is. It's down at 20%, or as the star draws there, in the toilet. What does this say when the Red Star is coming out against you and you're a Liberal leader? Well, let's talk to someone who's worked in Liberal political circles, worked in the media as well, and knows all the players involved. Ray Hurd joins me now from Toronto. Ray, you were shocked by this, weren't you?
Yeah, I at first couldn't believe that they would actually associate the Premier of Ontario, whom they supported, with a toilet bowl. But that's what they did. Now, all of this confirms only one fact, and you heard it here, H-E-A-R-D, you heard it here, Brian. She's dead, Premier walking. It's
Why?
reached a stage because there's so many scandals, and we'll discuss some of them. Basically, she's been laundering funds from her supporters to the Liberal Party. Now, I could start by saying this, that I think the Toronto Star and the Globe and Mail deserve a lot of credit because they had two good reporters, each of them, who exposed a lot of dirt. And the Globe editorial summing up these financial scandals about extracting donations from major companies, and we know the beer companies, the supermarket companies are among them. The Globe editorial started by suggesting she might have to be charged with a criminal offense. They never said she should be. They asked the question.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, we've known corporations have donated to political parties a long time. They used to do it at the federal level. I remember the Liberals would walk into a bank leader's office and walk out with a big check. That's been going on a long time. I think what makes this distasteful to so many people is you've got industry lobbyists marketing fundraisers to people in the industry to have dinner with the minister that regulates their industry. Or in the case of the one with the underwriters at the Hydro One sale, sit and have dinner in an intimate setting with the guy you're going to buy the shares off of. That leaves people saying, this is yucky.
Well, it's banned federally by Chrétien and strengthened by Stephen Harper. People forget Harper just said, really, in effect, you can give $100 grand a year, $1,000 a year individually, but corporations and unions can't give anything. But Ontario and a few other provinces still have the old rules, which are, in American terms, Tammany Hall. But the media deserves credit for exposing, basically, they were saying, give us a check for $18,000 a corporate table, 18 grand, or over $1,000 a person, and you're selling FaceTime or access to the Premier of Ontario.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to go off onto a tangent, but let me say one macro thing. In Quebec and Alberta, where they had two corrupt premiers, in Alberta, Alison Redford, the voters got rid of them. The parties got rid of them. Only in Ontario does political corruption empower you until last week or the last few days to remain in office. So I think it's interesting that it's taken a long time, 3 or 4 years longer in Ontario, because we knew about the gas plant scandals. We knew about the air ambulance scandals. This is not the first scandal.
No.
But this is the straw that broke the camel's back. And that camel, or that toilet seat, is Kathleen Wynne.
So, but she was questioned Monday morning at Queen's Park. She was questioned by Patrick Brown about this, and he wanted to know specific questions. You know, did you instruct ministers to do this? Did you or anyone in your staff tell people, if you want your issue heard, buy a ticket to this fundraiser? She just skates on past it, Ray, and refuses to engage and says, well, we're bringing in new rules. We're going to make it wonderful. But she will not actually answer the questions put to her.
It's worse than that. A few days before that, she and her finance minister, who worked at Royal Bank with me, who wrote mortgages for the Portuguese community, Sousa, said there was nothing wrong with this. So this is all on the record. On Monday, suddenly they changed the tune. She said,
they've all been defending
it. Meeting with the other parties to arrange it. But the other two parties, in a way, are equally to blame because they should have made a big issue of this. But the other two parties were also benefiting from the same corrupt system.
Well, let's break here. I don't think you can call a corporate or a union donation corrupt. I think what makes this corrupt, or
I said politically corrupt. Politically corrupt.
I think what makes this a problem is the industry-specific angle of it. Industry lobbyist gets together a bunch of people from the industry to have, like, the dinner at the Four Seasons with Bob Shirelli and the Premier was so small that they said you will all get FaceTime with them at the meal because they're limited. I think it was 30 people, and the Premier and the Minister would circulate at each course. So you were either going to be talking at a specific course with the senior staffer or the Premier or the Minister. Like you say, that smacks of selling access. And I think that is a big, big difference. That's the big difference between what's been going on before, a corporate donation, and what's going on now and getting them in so much trouble.
I think the real problem for Kathleen Wynne is that the Star and the Globe, perhaps belatedly, caught her. They caught her selling access, and they had the documents. So although they tried to deny it the first day or so, they realized that they were in real trouble. And now she's having a meeting with the leaders of the two other parties. But you cannot erase the record here. And it's up to Ontarians to get as outraged and as angry as I may be now, and the Alberta and Quebec people were, when political corruption is something that spreads. It has to be stamped out. And getting back to what Chrétien and Harper did, they did the right thing. And in Chrétien's case, he had a lot of criticism from Liberals, including Stephen Ledru, the head of the party, who said that idea of banning companies and especially unions from making donations was as dumb as a bag of hammers. That's what he said, but he was wrong.
I got to end with this, Ray. I have to ask you, do you think people will get outraged? Because when this broke, I asked about it on talk radio, on News Talk 580 CFRA, and crickets, trying to get people to call in on it. In the middle of the day on a very popular talk show, people were just yawning at the idea that the Liberals in Ontario might be corrupt.
Well, that may be a problem with Ottawa. And I sometimes feel sorry for you living in Ottawa, which is the most boring city in the world, and where half the members of your press gallery work on the public payroll for you and me as CBC people. But I'm digressing, as I sometimes do. In Ottawa, in Toronto, the Star is a mainstream paper. It's a Liberal paper. And it's read religiously by Liberals. And I started my undistinguished career in Canada on the Star till they had the sense to fire me. So getting to the point again, it's big in Toronto because the Star has a certain gift, which goes back a long time. When they get a big exclusive, those guys go to town on it, Brian. They made the story. It's almost like William Randolph Hearst 100 years ago when he invented what's called yellow journalism. The Star made it a story, and the Star has a habit when it gets a story, it sticks to it. And so they come back again and again. Smart.
This is going to hurt the Liberals where it counts in Toronto with their fellow Liberals. Ray?
And Brian, can I add one point? I know calls have been made as you and I talk. They're discussing who's going to succeed Kathleen Wynne as the next leader of the Ontario Liberal Party. And that might have to be an opposition minority leader, the way she's destroying the Liberal Party.
Well, it's a long way to the election, so we'll see. Ray, great talking to you as always.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.